She was the perfect child, never cried, never talked back, always did what she was told. Teachers loved her, relatives praised her. "You're so lucky," they'd say to her parents. "She's such a good kid." And she was. Quiet, compliant, easy. The kind of child every parent dreams of raising. But now she's 28, and she can't make a decision without second-guessing herself. She apologizes for things that aren't her fault. She says yes when she means no. She lies awake at night replaying conversations, wondering if she upset someone, if she said the wrong thing, if she's enough. She's anxious, burned out, and exhausted from trying to be perfect. And she has no idea that the seeds of all this were planted decades ago, when she learned that being good meant staying small, quiet, and pleasing everyone but herself. Today, we're going to talk about something most parenting advice ignores: the hidden cost of raising good kids. Because the truth is, many children who are praised for being easy, obedient, and compliant grow up to be anxious, people-pleasing adults who struggle with boundaries, self-worth, and emotional regulation. And this isn't about blaming parents. Most parents who raise good kids are loving, well-intentioned, and doing the best they can. But good intentions don't always lead to healthy outcomes. And if we want to raise emotionally strong children who feel safe being themselves, we need to understand what happens when we prioritize compliance over emotional honesty. Let's start with what we mean by a good kid. In most families, a good kid is one who doesn't cause problems. They listen the first time. They don't throw tantrums. They're polite, well-behaved, and easy to manage. They don't talk back or challenge authority. They make their parents look good in public. And on the surface, this seems ideal. Who wouldn't want a child who cooperates, follows rules, and doesn't create chaos? But here's what most parents don't realize. When a child is always good, always compliant, always putting others' needs before their own, it's often not a sign of maturity or emotional health. Children are not naturally quiet and compliant all the time. They're learning to navigate big emotions, testing boundaries, and figuring out who they are. A healthy child will say no sometimes. They'll get frustrated. They'll push back. They'll express anger, disappointment, and disagreement. But when a child never does any of that, when they're always agreeable and never cause trouble, it usually means one of two things. Either they've learned that their emotions aren't safe to express, or they've learned that love and approval are conditional on being easy. And that's where the anxiety starts. Because when a child suppresses their emotions to stay good, those emotions don't disappear. They go underground. The child learns to disconnect from their own feelings, needs, and desires. They learn to prioritize other people's comfort over their own truth. And over time, this becomes their operating system. They become adults who can't recognize their own needs because they were never allowed to honor them as children. They become adults who feel guilty for saying no, for taking up space, for having opinions that might disappoint someone. And they live in a constant state of low-level anxiety because they're always monitoring everyone else's reactions, trying to stay safe by staying small. Neuroscience backs this up. When a child chronically suppresses emotions, their nervous system adapts. The amygdala, the brain's alarm center, becomes hypervigilant. It's constantly scanning for threat, for signs of disapproval, for anything that might signal they're not good enough. The prefrontal cortex, which regulates emotions and decision-making, becomes overactive in self-monitoring and underactive in self-advocacy. The child, and later the adult, is stuck in a pattern of fawning, one of the 4 stress responses alongside fight, flight, and freeze. Fawning is people-pleasing as a survival strategy, and it's exhausting. So, how does this happen? How do well-meaning parents unintentionally raise children who become anxious adults? It starts with the messages we send about emotions and behavior. When a child expresses anger, and we say, "Don't talk to me like that," or "Go to your room until you can be nice," we're teaching them that anger is unacceptable. When a child says no, and we override it because it's inconvenient, we're teaching them that their boundaries don't matter. When a child is sad, and we say, "You're fine, stop crying," We're teaching them that their feelings are too much, that they need to manage our comfort instead of expressing their truth.
Before we go further, if this is landing for you, if you're recognizing patterns from your own childhood or seeing them in how you parent, I need you to do something. Hit that like button, drop a comment and tell me, were you a good kid? And if so, how has that affected you as an adult? Subscribe to The Parenting Blueprint because we're here to help you raise emotionally healthy, authentic children, not just obedient ones. We also have a membership with 2 exclusive levels offering deeper dives, early access, and a community of parents unlearning these patterns together. If you're ready to break the cycle, check it out below. Now let's continue. Let's look at the specific patterns that create good kids who later struggle. The first pattern is praise for compliance over authenticity. You're such a good listener. I love how you never cause problems. You make mommy so happy when you behave. These statements seem positive, but they send a powerful message. Your worth is tied to making me comfortable. The child learns that love and approval come from being easy, not from being themselves. Over time, they lose touch with who they actually are, because their entire identity becomes about pleasing others. The second pattern is punishment or withdrawal when emotions surface. When a child gets angry, frustrated, or says no, and the parent responds with coldness, isolation, or disapproval, the child learns that expressing difficult emotions threatens the relationship. So they stop. They stuff it down. They become emotionally numb. And decades later, they're adults who can't name what they're feeling, who don't know what they need, who've spent so long managing everyone else's emotions that they've completely disconnected from their own. The third pattern is conditional love, even when it's subtle. I only like you when you're happy. Good girls don't get angry. You're only lovable when you're obedient. Most parents would never say these things out loud, but children feel them. When approval only comes after compliance, when connection is withdrawn during conflict, the message is clear. You are only acceptable when you're easy. And that belief becomes the foundation for chronic anxiety, perfectionism, and self-abandonment in adulthood. Here's what happens in the brain. When this becomes a pattern, the child's nervous system learns that expressing needs or emotions equals danger. So, the amygdala stays on high alert, constantly scanning for signs of disapproval. The vagal brake, which helps regulate stress, becomes less effective because the child never learns to self-soothe through emotional expression. And cortisol, the stress hormone, stays chronically elevated because the child is always in a state of hypervigilance, trying to predict and prevent conflict. Fast forward to adulthood. These are the people who can't say no without feeling crushing guilt, who apologize constantly, even when they've done nothing wrong, who struggle to make decisions because they're terrified of disappointing someone, who have panic attacks over minor mistakes because perfectionism is the only way they know how to feel safe, who stay in toxic relationships, jobs, or friendships because leaving feels like failure, and who feel profoundly disconnected from themselves because they never learned that their own feelings, needs, and boundaries matter. So what's the alternative? How do we raise children who are kind and respectful without suppressing who they are? It starts with redefining what good means. Good doesn't mean silent, compliant, and easy. Good means emotionally honest, kind, and able to regulate themselves while still expressing their truth. We teach this by making space for all emotions. When your child is angry, you don't punish the anger. You acknowledge it. You're really mad right now. That's okay. Tell me what's going on. When your child says no, you don't automatically override it. You respect it when possible, or explain why you can't this time, but you validate the boundary. I hear you don't want to leave yet. I know that's frustrating, and we still need to go. We also model emotional honesty ourselves. I'm feeling overwhelmed right now, and I need a few minutes. I made a mistake, and I'm sorry. I'm sad today, and that's okay. When children see adults owning their emotions without shame, they learn emotions are safe, normal, and manageable.
Let's talk about what emotionally healthy children actually look like, because it's not what most people think. Emotionally healthy children are not always quiet, always obedient, or always easy. They're authentic. They feel safe expressing their emotions, even the uncomfortable ones. They can say, "I'm mad at you," and trust the relationship will survive. They can say no, and know their boundaries will be respected. They make mistakes without spiraling into shame, because they've learned that mistakes are part of learning, not proof they're unlovable. These children become adults who can advocate for themselves, who can set boundaries without guilt, who can tolerate conflict because they know disagreement doesn't equal rejection, who can sit with uncomfortable emotions because they were never taught to fear them, who trust themselves because their feelings, needs, and voice were honored from the beginning. That's the goal, not compliance, not perfection, emotional strength, self-awareness, and authenticity.
So, how do we break the cycle if we recognize we've been raising a good kid at the cost of their emotional health?
First, start making space for all emotions. When your child expresses anger, frustration, or disappointment, resist the urge to shut it down. Instead, get curious. You seem really upset. What's going on? Validate the feeling, even if you can't change the situation. I hear you're frustrated that we can't stay longer. That makes sense. This teaches your child that their emotions are information, not something to be ashamed of. Second, respect their no when it's safe to do so. If your child doesn't want to hug a relative, don't force it. If they don't want to wear the outfit you picked, let them choose. If they don't want to share a toy in that moment, honor it. These small moments teach bodily autonomy and boundary setting. Yes, there are times when no isn't an option, safety, health, and you explain that. But when it is an option, respect it. You're teaching them their voice matters. Third, stop praising compliance and start praising courage. Instead of, "You're such a good listener," try, "I noticed you told your friend you didn't want to play that game." That took courage. Instead of, "You make me so happy when you behave," try, "I see you worked through that frustration without giving up." That's resilience. Praise the internal qualities: honesty, bravery, persistence, not the external behavior that makes your life easier. Fourth, repair when you mess up. If you yell, dismiss their feelings, or override a boundary, go back and repair. "I got frustrated earlier and raised my voice. That wasn't okay. You deserved patience. I'm sorry." When you model accountability, you teach your child that mistakes don't define them, and relationships can survive conflict. This alone will reduce future anxiety. And finally, examine your own patterns. Were you a good kid? Are you still people-pleasing, avoiding conflict, or struggling with boundaries? Your child is watching how you treat yourself. If you constantly sacrifice your needs to keep the peace, they'll learn to do the same. But if you model healthy boundaries, emotional honesty, and self-compassion, they'll internalize that instead. Here's the truth most parents need to hear. Raising an emotionally strong child is messier than raising a compliant one. There will be more pushback, more big feelings, more moments where you're uncomfortable. But that discomfort is growth, for them and for you. Because when you allow your child to be fully themselves, emotions and all, you're not just preventing future anxiety. You're giving them the greatest gift, the knowledge that they are worthy of love exactly as they are, not for how easy they make your life. Before we close, I need to hear from you. Hit that like button if this gave you a new lens on good behavior. Drop a comment. Were you a good kid? And how has that shaped your adult life? Or are you parenting differently because of it? Subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint for content that goes beyond surface-level advice and tackles the deeper patterns that shape who our children become. Share this with someone who was the easy child, the people pleaser, the one who always made everyone else comfortable. They need to know their feelings mattered then, and they matter now. Tonight, when your child expresses a difficult emotion, don't shut it down. Sit with it. Validate it. Show them that all of who they are is safe with you. Because you're not raising a good kid. You're raising a whole, authentic, emotionally intelligent human. And that's worth every uncomfortable moment.